Hello there everybody, and welcome to my review of the Coruscant Guard Gunship, which is a LEGO set that you can buy for $140, and it came out in 2023 and is retiring at the end of 2025 supposedly. But yes, it has 5 minifigures, which we are going to go take a look at. First figure we are going to look at is Chancellor Palpatine. It definitely looks like Chancellor Palpatine. You can see he has the dress piece, which does have printing on it. Yeah, torso printing, brown arms, a face that looks like Palpatine, the Widow's Peak hairpiece. So it's have more of an evil face print, so that's cool. It has back printing and back of the dress printing. Something you can do is give him dark red legs so he looks more like he's ready to fight Mace Windu. But the colors don't really match that well, at least for me they don't, of the printing to the legs. And also give him his red lightsaber, which I do kind of wish they included, but I understand why they didn't. But an all-around great figure, which I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. I just wish he came with the lightsaber, but yeah, I just think it's not worth a full 10 out of 10. Next figure we are going to look at is Padme Amidala, which she has no leg printing, which I can look past because she doesn't really need it if you actually look at the show instead of just complaining online. Then she has torso printing, a silver pistol. She does unfortunately use Jyn Erso face, which is really overused, but since they did do a more specialized one in 2013, I just wish they could do that 10 years later, but only the best is good enough. And as for back printing, it's pretty simple, but sometimes simple is better. And she does have a pretty accurate hairpiece. So yeah, this is a pretty good minifigure, and I will give it a 8 out of 10. It just could have used a more specialized head. Commander Fox. We all know about this figure and why he is pretty hated by most of the LEGO Star Wars community. But we'll save all that for later. So he has leg printing, false dual molded legs, torso printing, a pretty cool looking helmet, back printing, and the normal clone headpiece. So, you know, that's cool. Okay, now I'm going to try to rapid fire going through all of his flaws. So first off, the printed waist cape, which just looks terrible, and they should bring back physical cloth ones, which we know will not be happening in 2025 as far as we know, considering we had a leak yesterday of some Galactic Marine legs, which I can't show, but printed waist capes will be making a return this year, unfortunately. But anyways, this stripe right here should be red. All of the white stuff on his torso should be white and not pink, so they need to start doing a double layered print. And this is a gray visor, which, depending on who you are, you could want a black one or a gray one. It's hard to tell, really, on the screen, so I'm going to let that one slide, but it should have been black, in my opinion. Yeah, this pink torso took what would have been a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 minifigure and turned it into a 3 out of 10 for me. So yeah, that's just kind of sad that LEGO couldn't print that to be white. And the last figure we're going to take a look at is the Shock Trooper, which at the time hadn't been seen for 9 years. And yeah, so this is a great minifigure in my opinion. It has torso printing, leg printing, foot printing, back printing, the normal clone head. The only thing really wrong with this minifigure is the helmet holes being there, even though they shouldn't be, because he doesn't need a visor. So yeah, I just think that that's pretty stupid that they're putting that on every clone minifigure, even though some sets don't even include visors or antennas to put in there. So that's pretty stupid. Yeah, this is a great minifigure, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And taking a final look at the entire minifigure selection altogether, it's a pretty good minifigure selection, but this set is missing one minifigure. That is Commander Thorn, since he was only seen in one arc, and that was with Coruscant Guard Gunship, so why isn't he in this set? So I just thought that was pretty stupid. So yeah, I do wish Commander Thorn was in this set, since this is probably the only set Commander Thorn would ever be in. Oh well, there's not much we can really do now. But other than looking at Commander Thorn, taking this as a whole minifigure selection in what would have been 2023, I mean, this is a 7 out of 10 minifigure selection. I think it should have included at least one more Shock Trooper, or at least a clone pilot to, pilot the gunship. but yeah, should have included at least one more minifigure. Now it's time to talk about the actual ship. And man, this thing looks good other than being downsized and having a couple flaws. First thing I wanted to take a look at was the bubble turrets, which is a pretty simple feature, you know, you just do that. Something I do like that they have in the set, and they also have in the 2013 gunship, is you see this piece right here, it actually stops like the entire ship from moving anytime you try to stop the turret from moving. So yeah, the turret is a lot less flimsy, so I think that's pretty cool. It definitely improves play. One of the most hated parts about this set is the stud shooter turrets, because in universe these are bubbles. It's cooler than it sounds. But instead they decided to put stud shooters there so kids could have a little play feature. So instead of, you know, just working it in somewhere else, they just decided to take out some pretty accurate stuff. So that sucks for us, but these kids are having fun. But at least it is a pretty simple mod to do to the set. Now taking a look at this cargo hold, we can see that it is pretty small and hard to fit anybody in there. So let's take a clone trooper and see. I mean, you can lay him down in there, but that doesn't really sound very practical now, does it? Something that LEGO's been struggling a lot with recently is with these stickers. You can see that the dark red of the sticker does not match the dark red of the brick, and so that just looks kind of off. At least it's not as bad in this set as it is in other sets. The cockpits, we can see they're pretty simple. The two of them, you just lift this up, you lift this up, and then if you look on the inside, we can see there's studs here and tiles here. So your minifigure will be easier to take out. And we can see the printed control panel. Putting a clone trooper in is pretty simple. You just sit him down, but it has to be at an angle, I guess. But yeah, and then you just take that, push that down, and then you can push this one down. So yeah, pretty simple. Personally, I like to use an actual clone pilot instead of just a random clone minifigure. So yeah, I just prefer to do that, and I just think it looks better if I were to put a minifigure in this one. The thing I do like about this set is that the cockpits are clear, so you can actually see the minifigure instead of, you know, look like this, where it's much harder to see the minifigure, especially off camera. Like, it's easier to see him on camera than it is off. So I'm glad that they do have clear and not the gray version. Ankles are very nice on this set, going from here to here. Actually, right here you can see some brick pieces, so I think that's pretty cool. And then right here you can see a little storage compartment that is moderately hard to open, and you can fit something in there. It really depends on what you're trying to fit in there, but it can be hard to fit stuff in there because of how small it is, but I'm not complaining. You know, a closer look at the wings, we can see that they are tiled off but have enough studs, so it looks like an actual Lego set and not like one of those mocks that barely looks like a Lego set, so I like that. And the engines look pretty nice. So yeah, that's what the engines look like. Right here is where the stud shooter should have been, just somewhere around here, because that would have looked much better. This set does also have a loading ramp at the back, so yeah. Let's see how practical it is in real time. Oh. Well, that's sad. But it's there. There's also this little turret at the back, so that's cool. I guess, I mean, nobody's probably gonna see it, but it's cool that it's there. Opening up the main doors is pretty simple. Just grab it and pull. Or you can do this. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Got all the doors open now, so we're gonna take some of our clone troopers and put them in there. Now, for people like me with big hands, it is hard to fit figures in here and many other sets, but at least this one is slightly easier. Oh, got my fingers stuck in there. But yeah, and then this one we're just gonna throw in so I won't have to ruin any more of the video. But yeah, you can fit several more clone troopers in there. It's just hard to do with a camera in your face. One thing that they do in this set is that they have tiles in the gunship, so that means you have less room to put figures, so that's unfortunate, but it does look nice. Something they did get wrong is that right here, the doors are actually supposed to split, so this half would go this way, and this half would go this way, but they just made it all one door, so that makes it, I guess, easier for play, but frankly, it makes it harder to put figures in there, and it looks less accurate. I guess they were just doing that to conserve the piece count, because that's the only reasonable explanation I could have for it. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty lazy on LEGO's part. The last thing we're going to take a look at is this handle, so you can pick this set up and fly it around. It is swooshable, and it is pretty sturdy, so that's nice. So, but the handle was necessary. Now, I could see the argument that it detracts from the display, but I mean, I'm personally willing to look past that, and I feel like most people are. So, an all-around great build, and I think so, but it's not the best gunship like was ever made. But I mean, for me at least, it is in the top 3. But yeah, I just think this is a pretty good build, and now it is time for my final thoughts on the set. To be completely honest with you, I think it's a good set. But to be completely honest about this set, I think in about 10 years' time, it will be mostly forgotten and will be extremely underrated. And I think that's probably where this set belongs, to be completely honest. And I just think going down as an underrated set is probably the best way this set can go. But yeah, be sure to tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. That helps boost the video through the algorithm. And if you didn't enjoy the video, you leave a dislike. And if you're new around here, can you please consider subscribing? Because if I get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I will do a toothpaste reveal.